Hello there, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Today I pose the question, is being the best dressed man in the room a competitive process? Can you actually win the room? When you enter a room full of people who perhaps you're there for a meeting or a social gathering and you cast your eye around the other people present and you get this sort of strange sense of satisfaction when you realize that you are the smartest dressed person in that room. Is it an act of vanity when we look at others and we think, yes, I've won this little sartorial competition amongst the people who are present? Is it vanity? Or is it actually something much deeper than that? Is it something subliminal that when we realize that we're very well dressed in a group of others, that it boosts our confidence, it elevates our self-esteem, and it makes us just that little bit better prepared for whatever is about to transpire in that situation we're in? I perhaps liken it to being a professional boxer. We've trained really hard. We've prepared for this big fight. We get up in the ring and we're ready. And then we see our opponent climbing into the ring. Perhaps he's a little flabby, a little bit soft, and we get this sudden realization, I have prepared better. I know that in the ensuing combat, I have now got a better chance of success because I have shown attention to detail where my opponent maybe has been somewhat lax. So today I am going to put you in the best position to fight to be the best dressed man in the room with some simple tips. Now my first tip for you is quite simple. Understand the dress code for the situation that you're stepping into. Even though it might not be a published dress code, we all kind of understand what the expectation of certain situations are. I mean, if you wore a tuxedo, a dinner jacket, to the golf club for a round of golf, you would be woefully overdressed. You would look foolish because you haven't adapted your style to the situation that you're going into. Do not, please do not think that just because you wear a collar and tie means that makes you an intentionally well-dressed man. It does in some situations, but not all. So take the time to understand the situation that you're about to step into and what the social clothing expectation will be. Is it casual? Is it formal? Or is it that complicated tightrope in the middle of smart casual? And when you understand what the situation is, what is expected of your clothing, yes, at that point, when you get it, dress to the highest standard of social conformity. Not overdressing or underdressing. Try and hit that sweet spot in the middle. Because believe me, being overdressed for a situation is equally as embarrassing as being underdressed. The key is to understand what the expectation is and go in at the right level for that situation. Now my second tip for you is to focus on the fit and the quality of your clothing, because baggy or very tight clothing isn't flattering for anyone. It does not bring out the finer qualities of anybody's physique. So in the clothing that you own, make sure that you employ the services of either a tailor or a seamstress, somebody in your locality who can look after you, who you can go to extend or shorten the sleeves of your jacket, your trousers. Do whatever is necessary to make you look the best that you can. It's a small amount of money to invest in actually your physical appearance to others. And at the same time, we focus on fit, focus on quality. Because remember, quality clothing is worthy of an investment. It's painful, right? When you realize that you're paying £500 for a pair of shoes instead of 50, it really hurts. Are those shoes really worth 10 times what you could buy a similar pair of shoes for? But of course the answer is yes. Because when you invest in quality, not only do they look better, they portray an image of you of a high worth, quality driven individual. But of course, they're going to look better over a very long period of time. And when they wear out, you can have them repaired. You don't have to throw them away. So focus on the fit and the quality. And not only will you look better now, you will look better longer into the future as well. Now, my next tip for you is to go timeless in the things that you buy. Invest in time-busting classic items of clothing to serve as the flagship pieces in your wardrobe. Things like a timeless but simply cut suit, either navy or grey in colour. It's never going to go out of fashion, it's always going to look good. A navy blazer, white shirts, light blue shirts, well-cut chino trousers, flannel trousers. Whatever the time of year, they are appropriate for the situation. They always look stylish, and they always will be appropriate for any social or formal scenario that you enter into. Let us take as an example of this conversation Sean Connery. 1964, Goldfinger, the famous grey Glen check suit, three-piece suit that he wore in that film, has been held up as a fashion triumph, or style triumph I should say. We don't use the word fashion. Fashion is temporary, style enduring. Now that particular suit was made by Anthony Sinclair of Conduit Street in London, one of the classic men's tailors, way back in 1964, 60 years ago. Yet, if you took Sean Connery today, wearing that suit, and dropped him into the middle of London, he would still look fantastic. That is the perfect example of timeless style and why you should go timeless in your wardrobe. Now my next tip for you is rather straightforward, but you'd be amazed how many people go adrift with this, and that is dress for your body type, not anybody else's. Because we often take inspiration from people we see in the media who are extremely well dressed, and we are inspired by them, but actually our body type is not going to correspond with theirs. So even if we dressed in exactly the same way, it's not going to look the same on us. We've just used Sean Connery as an example. Now Sean Connery is often held up as an exemplar for being exceptionally well dressed as a man. But he had some really great genetics. He was 6 feet 2 inches in height. The average height in the UK and America is 5'9". So he was way above average height. Not only that, but he had an enviable physical presence. He was a bodybuilder in an earlier phase of his life. He had actually competed in the Mr. Universe bodybuilding contest. And in 1964, he was in his prime, in his mid to late 30s. So I would argue, whatever the man wore, be it a sack or a Savile Row suit, it would have looked fantastic upon him, because he had this beautiful, visually stunning, statuesque physique. But if we are 5'2" and we are not physically in great shape, even if we wore exactly the same clothing, it's not going to look great on us. So we need to really think about and dial in colours, patterns, and the cut of our clothing so it flatters us individually. Don't think that just by following the trends of influences that we see in social media and maybe in the mass media, we're going to look great if we dress the same. Doesn't always work like that. Dress for yourself. Now my next tip for you is to pay attention to the small details in your outfit, because in so doing, you can add a lot of personal flair to the way that you present yourself to the world. It's little things like the knot of your tie, the shine of your shoe, the crease in your trousers particularly, and elsewhere around your clothing. These are small little things. In fact, they are free. They cost no money at all. But they are the little things which become the focal point in a person's outfit. It draws the eye immediately and singles the wearer out as somebody who pays attention to the small details. It's so easily done. So stay within the constraints of what we've talked about in the previous tips, but at the same time add little touches like a pocket square, maybe wear a nice wristwatch. It's these things that will not go unnoticed and mean that you are the one who wins the room. Now my next tip for you is to pay attention to the grooming and have confidence in the way that you present yourself to the world. Make the effort to shave every day if that's how you want to project yourself to the world. Or if you have facial hair, trim it regularly so that it is sharp and it is attractive to those around you. And wear your outfit with the panache and the inner confidence that you need to do so to show the world that you have self-esteem. Own your look. Go out there and throw your shoulders back, suck your stomach in, poke your chest out, your chin up, and walk through life as if you own the situation that you're going into. That's how you're going to win the room. And if you don't feel like that, if you think to yourself, something's holding me back, why don't I have the confidence? Look within yourself and find out what it is. Is it that the jacket doesn't fit right? The trousers aren't great? You feel that the details aren't there? When you identify those little blemishes in your confidence, erase them. Do something. Add the pocket square. Shine the shoes. Put a crease in those trousers. And then you'll stride through life as if you own every situation. Remember, confidence is the aura or the polish on any intentionally well-dressed man. It can't be purchased. It can't be added by a tailor. It's down to you. Have confidence in your conviction to be the best dressed man in every room that you enter. Now my final tip for you is really easy, costs nothing, but a lot of people omit it. And that is seek feedback from people about the way you're presenting yourself to the world. But I would suggest that you do so from people who you know are likely to give you some constructive advice. Don't ask your grandmother, because she is just going to say you look great in every situation. Don't ask somebody who you know is not going to give you honest critique. Speak to somebody who you know is well dressed and say, what do you think about this jacket? Do you think I could improve my tie knot? I like your tie knot. Which do you use? Seek out the advice from people who you know are qualified to provide you useful feedback, and it's just going to be an extra step in your journey to being the intentionally well-dressed man that you need to be. Remember, gentlemen, we do not seek to win the room in sartorial terms because we're trying to make other people feel bad or, elevate ourselves above the standards of others. What we do it for is to present ourselves to the world in the best possible light and at the same time boost our own self-esteem and confidence. It costs virtually no money to do this, yet it can make an enormous difference to the way that you stride out into the world and the outcomes that will come your way as you go through life. So gentlemen, put your best foot forward and aim to win the next room that you walk into in the sartorial battle of life. If you've enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button. Also like the video. If you want to send me a question or a comment, do so in the comment section below or drop me an email. If you'd like to support the channel, you could buy me a coffee or you could even become a patron. I make extra videos for my patrons and I've got a personal dialogue with those guys on my Patreon page, the link to which you will find in the show notes below. So until the next time, take care, look good, and I will see you again very soon.